And so there will be a vote. There may be hearings. There probably will be hearings. But there'll be a vote before the election. And the only question is, can the Democrats muster or keep complete locked-in consensus within its caucus and get 4 Republicans to switch, because that's what they need, because even if they get 3, Pence is the tiebreaker. So they may be able to get Murkowski and Collins, but that's where who Trump selects will dictate. There's a bunch of people that people on the right are recommending that will fail a vote, that won't get through. But there's several that I have no doubt will get through. And I think Trump is going to – in fact, I named her before anyone did. I said that I thought Barbara Lagoa would be the choice by Trump, just from understanding Trump and understanding who was on his list. And, of course, then it came out the next day that Lagoa is leading. And she's likely to be the pick, and it's because you have the daughter of immigrants. So you got an American dream story from Florida, from Cuba, or Cuban ancestry, been on the state court for, more than a dozen years, been on the 11th Circuit bench for over a year, over 27 Democrats voted for her for the 11th Circuit, over 80 senators approved of her. She's the kind of person that someone like Susan Collins, someone like Murkowski is going to have a very hard time voting against. And Democrats know they'll look bad because they'll be voting against the Latina, they'll be voting against the Cubano. So that creates problems for them in Florida politically. It creates problems for them in their self-image of being, pro-diversity. So if he picks her, she will win nomination in my view. If he picks someone like Barrett, now I actually like Rushing, but she's so young, they're going to push back on that. Someone like Barrett, she will not get through the Senate. And so people pushing her, even if you believe you think she's more conservative or more proven, I'll get into why that's not the case. But for example, Barrett, I would oppose her nomination personally. So I would do whatever I can to see her nomination fail. I have no interest in seeing someone like that on the bench. She comes from the corporatist, pro-government, pro-establishment wing of the party. She was one of the judges who just approved the Illinois governor's lockdown orders. That tells you all you need to know. So how someone leans on that issue tells you a lot about what kind of Supreme Court justice they'll be. She was the daughter of a Shell Oil, comes from the old money corporate South, a world I'm very familiar with, and the kind of people I would never want to see in positions of power. And so that's the world she comes from. Her dad was a big Shell Oil corporate lawyer. She goes to Notre Dame, clerks. And the other giveaway, by the way, if people out there looking at this and they see this sort of I should have grabbed Bob Woodward's The Brethren book and put that. I had the Judges one behind me, but there's The Brethren by Bob Woodward's actually quite good. It gets into the inside of how the Supreme Court works. But if people are wondering, how is it some conservatives are saying they know that Barrett's a wonderful conservative and so on and so forth. This is the law of the clerk. This is that the way politically you get yourself appointed to a high-ranking judicial position is you get yourself to be a clerk for one of the Supreme Court justices, and people just assume that your politics mirrors that Supreme Court justice. Problem is, everybody knows how to game that. So you just pretend to fit that justice's politics. This is how Justice Roberts got on the bench. You do two things if you're on the Republican side of the aisle. You let people know that you believe Roe v. Wade should be overturned, even if you don't believe that, because that way you'll have a bunch of pro-life support pushing you through, like Roberts. That's exactly what happened with Roberts. And you play the corporate side of the equation, but most importantly, you get that justice, his extended intellectual heavyweights, to lobby for you to be appointed to the judicial bench down the road, whether it's district court, court of appeals, Supreme Court, you name it. And so that's a lot of that's why people are pushing Barrett. The difference between Barrett and Lagoa is Lagoa didn't go clerk for Supreme Court justices, whereas Barrett did. And so because of it, it's that group of elite power wanting to keep their monopoly on power who are pushing Barrett. Barrett's a bad nominee. Not only is she unlikely to even get through because of positions she's taken in the past, but her rulings, both her scholastic history, her professional history, if you understand how this clerkship game works, that's not the path to go. Go with someone with diverse life experience who's shown conservative principles in a wide range of places if you're on the right, but is not so overtly political that they're just going to inflame the environment and not succeed to get nominated, like Barrett, and not someone who has establishment elite ties that is likely to betray you once they get on the court, like Roberts. And that's what Barrett is like.